Hello, welcome to Weekly Shonen Recap. This week we'll be talking about Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, Doctor Stone, Hero Academy, One Piece, and with Burn the Witch getting its limited series start, I think it was the 23rd.
Yeah.
Um, we'll be talking about that at the end of this video.
Yeah, we're going to
For
be
a little
adding that
special.
on as long as there's the limited series because we were big Bleach fans, although it may not seem like it.
Our anger is justified, I swear.
Just
Oh.
to give context to this real quick, I know we've ragged on this literally every single episode. We've bragged on Bleach at some point, but we followed this series weekly for years. So, knowing how everybody now knows how badly the publication went towards the end, there's some bitter feelings, to say the least. We're not talking about Bleach at the moment, at least. So, starting off, Black Clover 261.
Okay, so with this one, we start off. I think it was everybody was at the hospital, and Asta's getting treated, and we find out his arm can't. I think they made a point that his arm can't.
They're
go
like,
back
he's
home.
completely fine, except we don't know why the arm's like this, but it's not going back.
Which I think is neat. It's like it looks cool, and it's an interesting idea for like a battle scar kind of thing. It's like just a big deformity.
I'm not even sure if it's like a battle scar. Like, we talked about this before a little bit, but like High School DxD, literally, I think like where the dragon took his arm when because he had to offer something to the dragon took his arm. That's what Asta just did.
Yeah.
So it's like that arm, it'll work like his arm. It'll function normally, but that's not his anymore.
It's the demons or devils, I guess.
Yeah, it's the devils, and he made a pact to give the arm. So as long as there's that contract, he does not have the arm.
I feel at some point we'll get a whole body takeover.
Or probably at least more of. Like I'm really expecting the leg on the same side.
I see thinking that, or like the leg on the other side, just to have some weird kind of like off symmetry kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that's what that goes. And then we see.
Well, he does immediately mention that Gray. He's like, as for Ghosh's wounds, what you did, you didn't heal him. You completely replaced everything. So you don't have transformation magic. They don't tell us what she has, but it's probably like mimicry or something.
I would guess so. Like just replacing the stuff instead of like healing it. So I guess you would have to make some kind of copy.
Yeah, I think she literally made a copy of Ghosh and replaced the missing parts with the copies.
So it's kind of like a gold experience kind of thing, except you don't really make a copy. Or, I mean, you make a copy in this, I guess, as far as we know up to this point. But in the golden experience case, it's like you make something. Like they would lose a finger and he would make a rock into like a finger and attach it.
Yeah. Not that far into JoJo's. Never got that far into JoJo's.
I'm sorry. But yeah, it's one of his things. Every part after 4 has a... Well, I think Josuke was the healer in 4. And then every part after has a healer to justify the horrible maimings they get. It's like they have to have a healer. So every part after that has one. So Jordan is the healer.
Man, I'm going to go right into it again, aren't I? Kind of like in Bleach, how everyone lost their arm at some point because Orihime exists. So like, oh yeah, you can just lose an arm. We'll just rewind time and fix that. No problem.
Oh, poor
you. He lost an arm basically every fight he was in.
I feel like at the last one, it's like, I don't even feel this anymore.
Well,
Like, this is
I
just
know,
one.
like, how can you at that point?
Oh. But this kind of reminds me of Fire Punch, where like the kids, because they can both heal or like regenerate, they had to cut
Oh,
each
you
other's
finally got
arms
into
off.
Fire Punch?
I've read a bit of it. I haven't read the whole thing yet.
Okay, prepare to cry, and then
Should we? Should I?
I really do want to talk to you about this, but we probably shouldn't put it in the review.
Just in case, it's another of the guy that does Chainsaw Man,
Fujimoto, yeah.
Fujimoto, did Fire Punch first, and oh my god,
It is weird. It like if you think Chainsaw Man's weird, no, like you expect a whole second level of weird, and then one above that, and there's Chainsaw. I mean, not Chainsaw Man. There's where Fire Punch is. Chainsaw's like right down here. Then you go up to, and then everything else is like 5 down.
it's like as weird as we make Chainsaw Man sound. Oh
Because
boy.
it is, but Fire Punch is so much weirder. But it'll hurt. It'll hurt.
Okay,
No.
but back in Black Clover.
Oh yeah, like everybody is super depressed and just kind of leaves. Like they all have like these giant bags under their eyes because obviously they were fighting on that thing for like what was that 2 days? That they were trying to get over. Yeah, they were trying to get over to the Heart Kingdom, and they got attacked by Dante. And then I'm trying to remember what else. Like Dante's invasion thing didn't last that long, but they were trying to go after the Spade Kingdom forces for a couple days now.
Mm.
And obviously, like, they're not getting sleep after they just lost Yami. Cut to the only person who got knocked unconscious that woke up. Asta immediately wakes up screaming. What I found so cool about that, he looked at the arm and he kind of didn't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just kind of looks at it, accepts it, but then he immediately reaches with that arm out and pulls the book over. Like,
yeah.
And he pulls out the katana and
Yami's
it's turned
katana.
into a demon sword.
That was so cool.
Oh my god, it looks outrageous. Like, it's got like these little like black embers all over it now.
Mm.
So it looks demented and amazing. Like, it looks like Katana sword, the one that can just rip your soul out and eat it.
That's my katana. I recommend not getting hurt by.
Suicide Squad. Oh my god. I imagine that the effect is probably going to be something similar to that. Like, not that OP, but something outrageous because it's Yami's.
I love how, like, the ability is OP, so they just never use it. Okay, I need to stop talking about everything that's not Black Clover right now.
Yeah, but it's like... Okay. It's weird because I'm really expecting huge things out of that because, like, the Demon Dweller didn't work. The Demon Destroyer didn't work. So, what is this, and why did it work so well?
And plus, it's Yami's old sword, which means it's gonna be
like
strong.
I thought it was just because it was imbued with Yami's dark energy, which it might replace that sword that Asta lost. Was it?
Oh yeah.
What was the name of that thing? The Demon, not the Demon Dweller, not the Demon Destroyer.
I can't remember.
Google it real quick.
Let me see.
But yeah, like, I thought because of the cut it ended up giving Dante, it was filled with Yami's energy. Like, you can see that whenever he hands it over, and that's part of the reason why he's handing it over to Asta.
Let's see, Demon Destroyer. Let's see. No, that's not what I want.
Where he named the Demon Destroyer and the Demon Dweller.
There's Demon Dweller, Demon Destroyer, and
the one that Lick took. If you're on the wiki, it'll say that Lick took a sword.
Let me see. Asta. I'm just looking up Asta's sword names. Just to try to get it real quick.
Yeah, he pulls out the sword, kind of remembers everything that
Oh,
happened.
Demon Slayer, funny enough. Demon Dweller and Demon Destroyer.
It was the Demon Slayer?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Because Demon Dweller and most recently Demon Destroyer. So I guess Demon
Not most
Slayer.
recent anymore. Anyways, yeah, it's definitely just taking over the role that the last sword had. But
Yeah.
anyways, Asta kind of remembers what happens. He's just like immediately not accepting it, so he throws out the blankets and just starts running outside.
Mm.
He's like, I had to get back Yami, and then suddenly he gets slammed to the floor.
By this hooded figure. Which actually, I think, won't that turn out to be that Black Bull's member cloak that we saw
Yeah, this is
all
definitely the
those
person we
chapters
saw.
ago?
Yeah.
Which is disappointing, but whatever, we'll get to that. Anyway.
So, gets asked where he's going, and says that he's going to try to get Yami back. Said that you're too weak, and it's because of your weakness you can't go. Pretty much what the devil told him.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then also just starts talking immediate crap about Yami. It's like he's like, how do you even? You don't know him. It's like, I know him because he's an inconsiderate fool that cares for nobody. Which, yeah, that fits him to a T. But like, even Austin, you see, he remembers. He's like, that is him. That's not how you talk about him. But then Austin pulled a cool trick I don't think he's done before yet. Which is, he brought the grimoire, like, because he's restrained. He, while he's talking, he floated the grimoire over them, and then he summoned the Demon Destroyer to cut the tendrils or whatever it was. Yeah, it dropped, and he turns around, and it just throws him to the floor. And then, I can't remember too much about what happened. It's been a while since I read that, and I can't get my phone.
He cuts it, and then the guy just kind of knocks him down again. And then he starts talking about, like, okay, you're going to go after these people. And there's 3. You couldn't beat this guy on your own.
Yeah, you could not. Yeah, you stood no chance against him. And there's 2 more that are just as strong as him waiting for you over there. With Yami is, so Asta pretty much admits that he has to get stronger. With, like, tears in his eyes. So this person smiles and, like, throws off their hood. And, really, here's the weird part. We haven't had a character this androgynous before, so we don't know if it's a guy or girl yet. But they say that their name is Noct.
Noct. Okay, I was going to look it up. I can't remember.
So the person's name is Noct. And reveals himself to be the vice captain of the Black Bulls. And then also sprouts horns and then has a little demon imp companion on it. It's like, and I'm going to teach you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, now we can control the devil. And it's like, this is not. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, I know he has, and we got to point it out pretty obviously. He doesn't even understand how the arm works at all. Like, Noct knew what the arm was, knows how it's supposed to work, and it's like, yeah, you don't know how this any of this functions. But I can teach you how to do it. Obviously,
which, fair enough. We have the whole, like, somebody who uses the demon magic is going to teach Asta how to use the demon magic. That's fair.
Yeah, and we did know that was going to happen at some point. But Noct obviously has some mastery over it because Noct summoned horns. Something Asta can't do at all. Which is a sign of you taking power.
Doesn't he have the horns in his...
He can't summon them. He just block Asta's, and he gives up, like, a huge portion of himself to it. He's not, like, focusing anything.
Yeah, he can't do it well. It's only when he has more control. But yeah, so...
Yeah, he's pretty much, like, giving himself up to the demon, like, wholly. He's not taking the power. He's just, like, sharing it. Yeah. Which is what the Black Asta thing is. It's like, you don't understand this. You're too weak to go progress further with your devil. So So you have to get training. What I don't like I'm fine this character exists. But what I don't like is that they're the vice captain. Something I know I'm probably in the minority of,
I'm on the
because
same side.
I I think this takes away a lot from Finral. Because
And
this
also, it
is,
just seems kind of weird plot wise.
yeah, no captains mentioned a Black Bull's vice captain. Julius didn't mention a vice captain.
I mean, we've
We
had some weird stuff where like characters won't mention somebody and then they'll show up. We're used to that. We read enough of these things, but it's
But
like
this is a little too
nobody
much.
mentioned this character that has demon powers.
Yeah, like that is so important. And
Like they're looking for demon influence at the beginning of the Heart Kingdom arc, and Yami doesn't think to mention, "Hey, I have this vice captain that has demon control powers."
and Julius has to know.
On?
Like that's another thing. And Julius was very confused by Asta.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is your first. That was obviously his first encounter with somebody who's hosting a demon.
Mm-hmm.
That we know.
He's not even doing it well.
Yeah, he is literally terrible at what he's trying to accomplish. But
you can't hide a member. Like Julius knew about Henry. Nobody else did, but Julius did.
So no, a lot of people knew.
It.
It's like what was it? Gray knew, Austin knew, Yami obviously knew, and Julius knew. It was like literally half the Bulls knew because they talked to him.
Oh, yeah.
But none of this is like, this isn't even on that level though. This is hiding somebody big, which I'm not even against just revealing another Black Bulls member. I'm really mad about the captain thing. Because the vice captain, that's basically what Finral's been doing this whole time. It is basically half of his identity. Is like he is the person that Yami leaned on to do anything that he needed done. And now that's not actually true.
And then,
which kind of degrades him.
Black Bulls, it doesn't even make. I keep going back to it. Doesn't feel like it makes sense to me because like Yami's whole thing is like you can do whatever. Like he's got royals, he's got all these different people in the Black Bulls because
he only grabs who's ever's interesting, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, why would he make this random dude vice captain when at that point the oldest member, I guess being Finral, I think Finral is the oldest
Finral. That's why he always said I have seniority, which is one of the reasons why he acted so well as the vice captain, is because him and Vanessa have been there the longest.
But like, then he never makes Finral the vice captain. Like he never bothers to make it official because he doesn't care. So why is this one guy the
and it was pretty obvious. Like we were supposed to kind of think of Finral as the vice captain because he goes off about being he is the senpai in the relationship. He tells that to everybody. It's supposed to be like Yami, who's like, I don't give a crap, versus the guy who's too meek to actually take control, which was Finral. But that takes away again from him now. Because now we have this no-nonsense William Vengeance personality style, as far as we can tell.
Oh, yeah, because he also says, during this talk with Asta, he calls Yami a fool for being caught. Like a weak fool for being caught in the first place. And it's like, what is he doing as a member if he's just dissing Yami that hard?
Nock doesn't seem to have any respect at all for Yami, which you don't need to. I mean, hell, look at half the Black Bulls. They don't really respect Yami. Not in any traditional sense, at least. I mean, the people you could say
hate the dude.
Yeah, this is like malicious almost. Obviously, like deep cover covert op thing is apparently what they've been doing, but I don't know. I really hate it.
Like maybe he was like infiltrating another kingdom, like you said, covert. Like maybe infiltrating another kingdom so they couldn't talk about him.
Yeah,
maybe. It's just I don't like it. I guess we'll just have to see how the next chapter or the next few chapters go.
Yeah,
but it's like
obviously we're about to go into a trading arc thing.
Another one.
Yay! And it's also going to have to cut away probably right before that happens so that we know who survived in the Heart Kingdom.
Speaking of that, like, we haven't heard back on that in a while. And as far as we know, isn't Yuno still lying dead on the ground? Or
Yeah,
near dead on the ground?
I,
Like
I
30
like to
chapters
think that
ago?
every time like somebody talks, like in the anime, it'll like cut over to like just the wind blowing throughout the freaking building in there through all the holes, and it's just him unconscious with his face on the ground with the other Golden Dawn members. Just
It's so funny to me because it's like this whole arc started with Yuno being a big boy character, and then it's like he gets bodied so hard, and we haven't heard from him in what, like 20 chapters?
I know. It's
I
like,
think. I mean,
and I
that's
know
not
that
super
they were
important. It's
trying to
just
show
kind of
like
weird.
Yami got bodied, but Yami didn't get bodied.
He got surprise attacked.
He got surprise attacked after fighting a dude for that could literally regenerate from every move he made.
So he's using his really strong moves over and over again.
Yeah, and he invented new moves that he does not know how much mana they take from him yet.
Which even then, he still didn't even seem that winded. He was just like, oh, okay.
Just annoyed, really.
It's okay.
But
I mean, I think he did mention like he had to use a lot of energy to fight him, but he still didn't seem that bad.
well, he's talked about before, like absorbing New Moon. That's a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because New Moon is literally all of his energy, and then he's like, "I'll just absorb it in my mana shield, and then spin that out." It's like, oh, that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Slap a flex tape on. Oh my god, I'll never get tired of it. But yeah, so that's pretty much this whole chapter. It was another like, we don't say short, but it's like it's a lot of like just solid panel. Mm-hmm. So it's not a lot of like.
Yeah, and it's
there's
weird
not a
because
lot going on. I guess is a good way to.
It's weird because I kind of feel like the hype train just crashed and burned. And I don't know if that's going to be true for everybody, but it's really, we kind of ruined Fitterall in like one fell swoop. Added somebody in that just kind of hurts the entire background of the Black Bulls and Yami. Not horrifically, just weirdly makes them less trustworthy.
Mm.
And then on top of that, it's just like, okay, now we got to start fixing stuff. But it's not in a way that's like interesting like it was like back whenever we were in like the Witches Coven thing.
The Witches Forest?
Yeah, whenever we were there, that training arc thing, because that's what it was. It was a training arc, but it was interesting.
Mm. You got that whole thing with the Vanessa's background. You got the whole witch being super powerful.
Even like the Undersea Temple, which again was a training arc.
Which was an awesome fight with Veto.
Yeah.
Man, I love that fight.
It had some of the best cooperation, and you're like, okay, it still made sense that they couldn't beat him. But then you're like, Gami beats him one hit, and you're like, yep, I believe that.
So he cuts right in half, and you're like, yes. Yes, sir.
It's weird. I'll heavily question some characters, but then there's just like the Escanor, Kenpachi, freaking Yami types who are like, yeah, they could probably like solo the entire cast, and I'll be like, yep. Exactly as it should be.
I would have paid good money to see Escanor Escanor
body every single one of the sins.
He pretty much did.
Yeah.
I mean, like, everybody in the manor got like beat to death. Oh, that'd be. I'm gonna read that sequel series, and I'm just gonna
hate yourself for it.
Yep. Oh god.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the
really good chapter, but
we went into this with the wrong attitude. We ended
I
on
know.
sour note.
Like we're talking happy right now, and then like you can see the pain in our eyes as we get to this one.
Oh, no. I don't want to.
It's weird because this was my favorite chapter this week because it fucking hurt me so much. I haven't been... Okay, to put this in perspective, I haven't been this hurt by a chapter of anything since Berserk Golden Age.
God, that was rough.
Like, I legitimately haven't had this much of an existential crisis because of a move of anybody since the femto thing.
Fujimoto's just too good.
I know we need to get into it, but I still need a minute.
Oh, take your time. I'm avoiding.
No, we took a day.
Oh, I think honestly, we said it was partly we had some
technical difficulties with the internet
technical
and stuff.
Difficulties. But honestly, I think it was just the universe being like, you don't need to talk about this today.
I was so upset all of yesterday. Okay, put it in perspective. Out of all these chapters, I read them whenever they come out, as soon as they come out. I made the mistake of I needed to know the answer of what was going to happen next in Chainsaw Man. So I read this the second it came out, and that ruined my day for the entire day. Everybody kept being like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? I need a minute. I need a fucking minute for an entire day. I need a minute."
Okay. We can do this.
Yeah, we can't procrastinate forever. Okay, so it immediately starts with what's her name?
Makima.
I was gonna say bitch.
At this point, it works. I mean, it worked from the soggy.
It's always worked. It's literally always worked. So in my head, I always just call her the bitch. So that's why I keep forgetting her name. But yeah, she immediately starts me because asking Denji to elaborate what he means by being a dog. And Denji's like, I just don't want to think anymore. Everything went bad whenever I started to think for myself past basic survival.
Mm. It's like he talks about killing Aki as
yeah, he's like, I felt like at the moment it was the only decision. He's like, but now then I thought ever since that moment I've been thinking about I probably just wasn't smart enough to think about what I should actually do.
Which I have to say, I kind of chuckled at this one scene. Like when he's talking about that, I feel awful for kind of chuckling, but he mentions he didn't know what else to do because he said probably hundreds of people would have died. And I'm thinking, with what Aki did, it's more like thousands.
Yeah, literally thousands that already died.
That was kind of chuckle worthy. I needed that little laugh there. Oh god, I don't want to do it.
I know it seems like I'm forgetting. No, I'm just remembering too much and it's hurting me. But he's like, I don't want to have to think about things. I want you to think about them for me because you're so much smarter than me. Mm. It's like, I hate the guilt of having to think about things and constantly not being able to stop thinking about things. So obviously, it's the amount of people who've died because of him or around him is starting to weigh on him drastically.
Mm.
I mean, he's been alone for forever. He's completely uneducated. He doesn't know how to work with people. So he does not know how to cope with anything like this.
It's like, at all. It's like he's a proposed 16?
Yeah.
By his own words?
He's 17 tomorrow.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Which I want to talk to you about that because I was rereading it and some of the dialogue was a bit odd. But I wanted to, not in a bad way, but just kind of interesting. But we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she's like, okay, I need you take my hand, and I want you to promise me that you'll do anything I say obediently.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes her hand, and he just goes woof,
mm-hmm.
because he's a dog. Okay,
his old thing he used to do.
And then we get a noise at the door. And Maki was like, "Oh, that must be power." He's like, and Denji's like, "Oh, why'd you ask Power to come here?" And he's like, she immediately says, "That's silly, dog. Dogs don't ask questions." And he just kind of laughs it off and woofs again.
Mm.
And she's like, obviously, I brought her here to kill her.
Yeah, like that's just put in the panel. It's like, oh, I brought her here to kill her, and it's like, oh
And
crap.
Denji's got this look on his face, like, just like he misheard or something, or it's got to
Mm.
be playful or something. He's like, "Go open the door, Denji. It has to be you." And then you get to see both doors next to each other. The one mentally he got told not to open, and
Mm.
the door that's there. And he starts walking with Makima, who takes his hand, starts walking through the
So we
freaking
get some
doorway.
nice art with these stinking rooms. They look great.
Yeah,
They're
but
like, it's so good. And then we see the what's it called? Lucifer falling
yeah, the
painting.
fall of Lucifer from what is it?
Paradise
Gustave
Lost.
Dor for Paradise Lost.
Oh.
It's lit. Yeah, it, it's literally the fall of Satan happening as he starts reaching for the door.
Mm.
And it's got this best double page spread we've seen in forever. But you feel this tension throughout the entire walk. And then right there at the door, and he's like, as he reaches for the handle, because he's going to open the door.
He starts reasoning with himself.
Yeah, he starts reasoning and questioning himself. He's like, why would she invite Power over? She's not going to kill her. It's like, oh, it must be because it's my birthday tomorrow. And Power's going to be there with a cake right outside the door. And he opens, and you see Power, who looks like she just jogged all the way there after getting called. So she's sweaty, but she's like shy looking, and she's like Denji, and she's holding a cake that's like handmade, and it has a little chocolate plaque on it that says "Happy 17th birthday, Denji," because he says, "Oh yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow."
Mm.
And then Makima just takes out her hand, and she does this, it's like cocking it, and then
Pretty
she
much
just
a
points
Gantz
at him.
finger gun.
Yeah, points at her and goes bang, and then her entire chest is gone, and the building behind her's gone too.
Oh, and I want to tell you, I read this. I don't read double spreads. Like I read, like just page to page.
Yeah.
So I saw the finger gun, and I'm like, oh, maybe this will be, you know, maybe I misjudged this.
Yeah.
And then you see the finger gun, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and literally, there's
And
no
then the
question
next
if
page.
Power's dead. That's the worst part. It's like there's no question. We've never like every time we've seen a fiend take any like large sustainable damage, they die outright. Power's entire chest section got obliterated. Her head falls onto her legs. The cake's gone too. It's just
that hurt too. It's like all that effort she probably put in to make that cake.
And then Denji sees that, and his eyes go wide, and his face goes white. And then Makima picks up his hands, like, "Oh, your hands have gotten cold again. Let's go back inside." And that's where this ends.
And he goes to try to say something and stops himself, and it ends on her looking at him.
It's basically like he can't talk at all, actually.
Mm. Like he's just so shocked that he just saw that.
Yeah, he has not processed it. But straight up, this is the second time they've killed one of my favorite characters outright. I freaking loved Riza. I figured she was going to die. She was obviously a villain, but I had hoped for the best. Now, Power, god damn. I liked Aki too, but god, oh. There's no closure to this either. It's literally she's there and she's gone.
It's like she got blasted. So
It is down to, whenever it comes to main characters, we're down to Ji Kuizhou, I think is how you say her name. The girl who the other devil man.
Oh, the archer one?
Yeah.
That's Quan Chi, I think.
Quan Chi, yeah, I can't remember her name, but we have her, we have the old man hunter, we have the dude with the scar on his eye, we have
Octopus Man.
Yeah.
Who killed one of the assassins who actually didn't die.
And then we have
pleasant.
Then we have the assassin girl.
Kobeni. Or
Kobeni. Yeah. Kobeni.
Kobeni. So like,
but that is it for
characters.
Yeah,
down to 6.
That is it for major characters. It is insane how The kill count on this is larger than a One Piece backstory.
Like, where do you go from here? Like, he has literally nobody left. I mean, not literally nobody, but like the old man doesn't care. Like Kobeni's
He is
out.
busy trying to find a way to deal with her. And obviously, she's progressed far enough where it's beyond help. It's literally the fall of Lucifer.
It's like the only one that could do something is Denji, and we don't even know how he'll be able to do anything. I mean, it's like he can't even do anything to her at this point now that he's her dog. Unless, like, I can't think of a way out of this at this point
But
because she wouldn't kill him.
And there's not going to be any more, like, funny moments in this. There might be, like, little goose of just Denji, but he's not going to play off another character for a while until we either somehow miraculously get characters back, which I doubt is going to happen.
I don't think he'd do that.
No, like, if we do, it's going to be at some cost.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is a whole thing where you can bring the Devilmen back, can't you? If you kill them?
They can be revived, but fiends can't.
Oh, okay.
Power's gone.
Oh, God.
Unless that devil came back in a body and the devil kept the same personality, but even then, is that power? That's a whole nother, like, philosophical debate then.
There's a part of me that could see that happening at some point just to mess with him even more. Oh, God.
It is. Literally everyone in this series is dead. Denji's alone. The entire mood has shifted all the way over to the dark. Like, there's always been dark undertones. This has always been, like, a complex story about the mind, basically. Because Denji's dealt with every kind of terrible emotion you can imagine. Every kind of terrible, like, life moment you can imagine. Mm. But there was always comedy to offset it. There's no comedy now.
It's like, even
which
though
is
it's like
ironic because that scene, though, it's like Paradise Lost and the Divine Comedy are often compared a lot. Mm-hmm. It's like, we've lost Paradise. Are we going to get the Divine Comedy? No, I don't think so. It's like,
we're on this pain train and it's going full throttle. Oh, crap.
So it's weird to say, I'm looking forward to Chainsaw Man the most, but I'm not looking forward to anything at all anymore ever again.
It's so crazy because it's like, with Aki, you know, at least we had that great moment where he begs, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. I just wanted to call her bitch again. Oh, Makima. Mashima, thank you.
Makima, yeah.
Makima, thank you. I don't know why I have trouble with her name. I think I just hate her so much. I kind of want.
I know, right? It's like I'm trying to purposely block it out so she'll die.
It's like, we had that beautiful moment where he asked Makima to help him just for Denji and Power's sakes, and then he dies. And we get some chapters to deal with that. You know, you get that great build up to him being the gun devil or the gun fiend. You get those great moments with the fight. But then with this, it's just like finger gun, which I don't know how she did that. That was crazy. And then Power's gone. Power's dead.
The worst part about this is Denji foreshadowed this a while ago. Mm-hmm. Whenever he had that crisis about not feeling anything, mm-hmm. He was like, would I care if Power was gone? Probably not. What about Aki? No, I don't think so. Both are gone now. And Denji feels like shit. He thought he wouldn't feel anything for him, and that now they're both dead.
And they are probably not coming back.
Yeah, you're not that far into Fire Punch, but look forward. You're not that far into Fire Punch, but look forward to that feeling. Like, this gut-wrenching feeling, this is familiar.
Man, he's such a good art. He's so good at this, though.
Like,
Oh
he
my
is,
god.
like we've said before, this is straight up, like, cinematography in the way that he handles the scene flow. Like, it feels like a movie in a way that I don't want an anime for it, really. Like, I really want an anime for it because that'll make it more popular, but I also don't want an anime for it because it doesn't need it.
It can't do it justice, honestly, unless a really good studio gets it, which, knowing our luck, no, it will not.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get,
I honestly, I'd want something like them moving through the panels.
that'd be neat.
Like, it would have to be something weird and experimental, like what David Productions did with JoJo Part 4. With
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole, like, dreamlike feeling, because people would duck into other panels and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, I want something like that for Chainsaw Man, because that is, I think, the only way you can do justice to how well he does that scene flow.
And then there's all the other concerns, like the incredible amount of violence.
There's,
It's
it's
like,
such a good series. It's weird thinking this is in Shonen Jump, but then, like, Shonen Jump's had some messed up stuff in it before.
I mean, like, we got stuff like Death Note, which is pretty high up there. We got Tokyo Ghoul, and it was good. Oh, boy. Mm,
Everything about
mm.
this just makes me depressed and lose my will to live a little bit.
It's like, I'm not getting off this
But we
pain
are
train.
getting another chapter for that and Black Clover next week. No break for either one, so yay! Let's before we get sucked too deep into this depression, Dr. Stone.
Yeah, that was the end of that chapter. We got that.
There's no good way to transition, so bear with us, but
Oh, and I saw something funny. It was his Fujimoto's author comment. He's talking about how he's learning to make parfaits, and I'm just like, I hate you. I hate you so much.
hate you in a good way.
You're too good. Don't stop what you're doing. But like, oh, you're making sweet treats, and we're over here ready to die. Like, how do you do this?
You remember when everybody was making a big deal out of Oda's editor crying? I imagine that Fujimoto's editor goes to work just as the most depressed human being alive because he can't talk to anybody about what he's reading.
I saw a thing. It just showed Fujimoto meeting his new editor, and it's just Satan. Like, hello. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Okay, we can do this. We got to get to. We'll move on to Dr.
One
Stone.
more thing before we get all the way to Dr. Stone. Have you seen the finger gun thing is now a meme?
I have not. Oh, wait. No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. So, the thing is, Makima, Fujimoto, and Chainsaw Man were all trending tags over in Japan whenever this chapter came out. Because people were freaking livid. But yeah, they turned the finger thing into a meme. Like, I've seen ones where, like, it's the special beam cannon going through Goku. All kinds of stuff. So they've memed it, and made my pain even more of my pain. But that's showing how popular this series is getting, because it might not be picking up that much traction over here in the West that much, but if it immediately hit trending, One Piece didn't. Chainsaw Man did.
And One Piece was a good chapter this week. Not the best of the group, I would say. But, like, One Piece was a good chapter.
If I have to go best of the group, as much as it physically pains me, Chainsaw Man's the best. Because it physically pains me, but...
I don't want to jinx it, but it's like we've had Chainsaw Man as top chapter like every single video. And it's like it earns it.
It really hasn't not earned that spot yet, because it's like all I can think about and all I can talk about.
It's like we keep joking about making like a video just for Chainsaw Man. And it's like I feel it. It's like I could just talk about Chainsaw Man and it messing up my soul.
If people ask me about any of these other series, I'll talk about them. I'm up to date on all of this stuff. We really need to get Jujutsu Kaisen in here at some point.
I don't want to read that. I'm like 80 chapters behind. I don't want to read that.
I will say the power system is super interesting, and where I'm going to get crucified is I think the plot is pretty standard.
Yeah, it's like, gotta collect the 20 MacGuffins this time.
Yeah, but
Which I do like how they increase his power
yeah,
with each finger, so that's kind of neat.
and
You get
honestly,
to see.
it is a very interesting series because of the way that the powers work.
Mm.
Other than that, you get to meet basic stereotypes of basically every type you can think of.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if this is a fan favorite character or not. And I know we're not technically talking about Jujutsu Kaisen as chapters yet, but I can't stand the guy that talks about fish ingredients. That guy that got introduced to the panda and the girl.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
Okay,
He's so
how do
annoying.
you feel about the guy with the eye covering?
Wait, which one's that?
The incredibly powerful guy?
Oh, the super buff dude?
Yeah.
Was that an eye covering?
Yeah, he's wearing, like, covering on his eye.
Oh.
Yeah, it's white hair.
Are you talking about Goju?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
You said buff dude. I was thinking of that other
No,
student.
I said, what do you think about that one dude with that eye covering?
Okay. I like him. He's a cool character for, like, strongest character in the...
Yeah, he's straight up like a
Universe.
Yami or, like, what have you for any other series. Or, like, kind of a Shanks, but not really, because he's kind of a villain.
Oh, at this point... it's like...
Well, he's kind of a villain because, like, straight up, if the main character wants to live, he has to go against him. At some point.
Which I feel is just unfair. Because, a bit of a spoiler, but, it's a pretty early on thing, but Goju's power is infinity.
And it's hinted multiple times the main character has an ability that's going to be the same as his.
But it's infinity, so it's like, it's as overpowered as that could possibly sound.
Yeah.
And it's like...
This is one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, the story... I know, I'll get flack. I've said it before several times in this already, but I know I'm going to get flack because I know how many people are into Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't hate that story. I really like that story. I read it mostly in the full arc form because I feel like it flows better that way. However...
We're up to like part 38 in this new arc.
I know. I'm about to break my rule and just start going through it again. But, however, how I feel about this is like, yeah, I know why people like it. The powers are super inventive and they're so fun. And, like, they're getting compared to, like, Nen abilities and stands and all kinds of stuff, which they're not that crazy. And they're not as concise as Nen either. So, kind of a cheap
and so far as I've seen, it's
Nen,
like,
yeah.
they have like a weird one, like one of the ones is like one of the more simple ones, it seems like, for instance, is there's this teacher guy who he has a blunt blade that he cuts the demons with, and he can cut them in different spots for critical hits and like do really big damage to an enemy by hitting certain spots, even with the blade like wrapped with like, it can't cut really, but when he uses it, it still cuts them to pieces because of his ability.
Yeah.
It's a neat one, but it's more of like a symbol one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, the powers are super inventive. I really like that. The main idea of the plot point of him having to collect these fingers and then also at the same time rebel against the people that are making him do it or he'll die, that's cool. The way they're going about it is very generic. So far. Like, that can change, and it can get a lot better. That's why I think, like, even though there are times, like, Dr. Stone is not doing anything that's groundbreaking, overall, I think that it's better because it's non-standard.
I like its style of just the science experiment kind of thing. It makes it fun to read.
Yeah, that's really where I'm at with this. It's like, it's not that Jujutsu Kaisen's bad, and we're definitely going to put it on here, but it's like, is this week probably, I didn't read it, the newest chapter I'll get on.
The newest chapter was pretty sweet.
I haven't read the newest chapter yet, because I'm going to get caught up with it probably in the next week. I'm still waiting for you to get caught up so that we can start talking about it. But
I've put it on the back burner for so long. They're like,
yeah.
I'm one of those people where, like, I know what's going on because I just, like, I haven't cared enough to read
the new one, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I'm on, like, chapter 20, and we're on, like, chapter 100 and, I think, 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm way behind, but I skim the new ones just out of, like, oh, why not?
But it's like,
you know.
Would it break, I don't know, like One Piece? Would it take over One Piece this week for me? I feel like even if I was caught up, I'd say no.
Trying to think. It's like, okay, we have Black Clover, which ranks low for me just because of the weirdness of that whole situation. And Chainsaw Man greatness, even though I want to die.
That's number one for me, yeah.
Dr. Stone was...
One Piece is probably either my number 2 or My Hero.
Oh, My Hero for me was probably number 2. This week was a cool chapter, I thought. But I guess we'll get into that when we finally get to that. But it's like, it was an interesting chapter for that one. And then Dr. Stone was an interesting one.
I mean, Dr. Stone was Dr. Stone. We should get into Dr. Stone now.
Okay, we need to...
281... that's My Hero. 162 for Dr. Stone.
We're only on chapter 162?
Yeah, it's not that far in at all.
Wow.
But,
feels like I've been reading this for a long time.
It starts with, what is his name? Hogyu?
You know, I'm gonna look because I don't
the guy
remember.
who uses, the pole shaft ability... he's like,
yeah, he's digging the hole with his spear.
Well, it starts out like he's attacking somebody, and they're like, get him! And then it just turns out he's got the thing on the shaft of the shovel, and he's just like spinning it, and he's digging it like it's a drill. And like it turns out he's like, I can't believe I'm defiling my martial art for this. And like, he's like, you're not defiling anything. Just keep digging.
Oh God.
But yeah, they've already started on the whole thing with the tunnel, and Chrome basically starts talking about how they're getting started, but they need the tools from the back on the Perseus, which apparently he's already used the radio to contact the Perseus. So they're already building his drill head that he needed.
Which also, I want to mention, the drill head looks like the coil sword from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I thought that immediately, and I was like, oh, cool. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's just the way the drill head would look.
I think that's just how drill heads work.
But it was kind of cool. I thought that was neat. Okay.
Yeah, he radioed back saying, giving specifications for what he needed and asking for somebody to bring the mobile lab and the things he needs so that he can make this. Meanwhile, he's tearing apart the drone, which makes like Suika cry. He's like, why would you tear apart the drone? He's like, I need to make a wind machine. He's talking about a ventilator.
So we can have the oxygen down there. Yeah,
down in the tunnel while we dig. So he's getting started on building that already. Meanwhile, it cuts back over to the Perseus where Kanzaki had just made the drill head. He's dressed. It's so weird because he's like, we've used to seeing him as a caveman. But now he's wearing, like, modern smithy attire. And he's like, my newest creation is done at last. I don't know why you wanted it to look like this, though. And then, who is it? It's Mozu, and I can't remember the name of the other guy that's Ginru's servant. But yeah, his manservant take it. They're like, what is this gut-wrenching device? And it's like, they're analyzing it for the exact use it would make in battle. They're like ripping out somebody's intestines. They're like, what is wrong with you? They take it away from them. But yeah, they meanwhile they're having a talk about what's going to happen, and they're like, okay, whoever goes to take these things over there, they're going to need to work things, and they're also going to they're basically going to need a lot of manpower. They're like, okay, well, if we can't afford to send that many people, then
They'll notice that we're sending that many
yeah, so
people.
we have to send a small group. So there's the idea of, oh, well, we'll just send one man that's worth 100 men, and obviously it's Taiju, because Taiju is literally tireless.
He's our buff boy. I love Taiju.
But yeah, he goes by and visits Senku and Luna and all of them, just to make sure Senku's okay. Makes a promise that he'll be okay.
Mm.
Then he grabs all the stuff, puts it in the backpack, throws it inside the mobile lab, and he starts driving out. Okay, so both of the goons on the other side that were watching this noticed that. They're like, somebody's got to tail that. And they're like, you do it, I'll watch it. And they get in a fight. Apparently, the nerdy glasses-looking one was always the bodyguard.
Because he beats the Taran and the other
Yeah, he
dude.
beats the other guy. And he's like, you're the driver, you should do it anyways. So while they're fighting each other, though, Taiju literally pulled up and he was like, hey, y'all guys are going to be following me anyway, so why don't you get in the car? So he immediately picks up the spy on purpose.
Oh, Taiju, you...
Yeah, and he starts driving away. I don't know why the other guy didn't think about radioing back that they took one of the people. But he straight up does not do that. He just sits there. He's like, what happened here? But then he starts looking back to make sure that Luna's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the other guy's just sitting in the back of the car like, what am I doing in here? What's with all these weird things?
And he's speaking English. Taju's speaking Japanese.
Oh, yeah,
so
they don't understand each other at all. They're just understanding, like, inflection.
Mm.
So, I don't... here's the thing. I need that in front of me because I cannot remember this chapter at all.
For some odd reason, I'm having trouble, too. But from what I remember...
Bring it up on your phone. That way you can just double-check us.
Yeah.
But,
Let me do that.
yeah, he's just sitting on...
Come on.
He's just sitting in the back of the... I think it's at this point. No, right after this. But, yeah, he's talking English and, says something. I cannot remember. This is the part that I need.
Oh, where are you? I'm sorry, what?
Like, what are they talking about in the car? Because I know this happens before the whole incident about the car, but...
They pick him up, and then the one guy...
You don't have to give verbatim, just kind of, like, skim it and tell me what the gist.
Yeah, the American starts asking if Luna is safe.
And, and then Taiju is like, I don't know what you're saying because you're speaking English. But he's like, but if you're asking about Luna, she's fine, don't you worry. And she's like, she's taking care of
Senku.
Yeah, she's taking care of Senku. And he's like, I don't, even before this, whatever, like, he was yelling at them out there, and he's like, what do y'all need is to get in the car with me, since we're going to follow me anyways. They're like, we don't understand what he's saying, but with the wild gesturing and the amount of yelling, we somehow understand what he wants. Mm. And then basically the same thing happens here, but then it cuts back over to the ship, and they're like, hey, when did Taiju ever get his license? They're like, he just jumped in the car. We've never even thought about this before. And so he's hitting every tree on the way down. It's like, the one guy screaming, where did you learn how to drive? And Taiju's like, I can't understand you, but if you're trying to ask how I am, don't worry, I'm tough. And he's like, well, that's good for you, but I need to be able to live through this. So he grabs the wheel because he used to be a professional driver.
Now he's driving the enemy car.
Yeah, he literally drives the mobile lab all the way up to where they're supposed to meet, what is his name? Yuki? But yeah.
Yukio.
Yeah, they drives him up to where they'll meet Yukio. And they're like, well, even what happens if Taiju picks up a tail? Well, if he picks up a tail, he should be driving fast enough that he'll lose it. But even if he doesn't, he'll meet Yukio first, and he'll get rid of the tail. And then we immediately get like, before I could hear the tail to get rid of him, you put him in the car and drove them all the way here. And then you get to see they gagged and bound the dude to the tree. And Taiju's like, don't hurt him. He was nice enough to drive me here. So the dude's just bound and gagged to the tree now, and they're like, "Oh well, I guess we can't have him radioing back, so we'll just leave him here until we're done." So it cuts them all just starting to work on everything, and he sees
But yeah, they
what
just
they're
like out their plan. It's like, oh, we got to dig the tunnel to Zeno's castle, and he's like, what?
yeah, he's like tunnel. But then he's like, "There's no way they could make do with something like that. They don't have the technology or anything." And then he sees them all getting to work on it. And he's like, "This is going to be incredibly hard. None of you know what you're doing."
They're all just a bunch of high schoolers.
But then he notices, they're all around younger than Luna. So he's like, "There's no way you're going to know what you're supposed to be doing here. You should just wait for somebody who does." But then he focuses on Chrome, who's like really concentrating, and he's putting together everything. He's slowly starting to figure it out just from trying. And he's like, "Why do you keep trying when you know you could fail?" And then, but during all of this, he still manages so. Taiju had dug all the way to bedrock at this point because he's a crazy man. Yeah, they hit the rock, and they set up the tunnels, so with the rigging system and everything, Taiju's straight up a monster, because literally, like, most of this hadn't been done before he got there, and then suddenly it's all done in the time it takes Chrome to assemble a drill. But yeah, they set it up, and then Taiju's pulling it down the rail. He's like, "There's no way you can make it through that rock with something that you made that you don't know anything about," and then they start breaking through the rock because the drill's working. And that's pretty much where the chapter ends. Like you see, they've set up an entire mining shaft area with ridging. A lot of people think that a mine shaft would be really tall, but a lot of times it's crawl spaces at first, and then they dig up, or sometimes if it's
like
safe.
up and around.
Yeah, they only do that really if it's safe, though. It's mostly a lot of like crawl space or like where you can get by hunched. So he's going along upper lateral lines to where he can dig on it, and then whatever they make it certain way past to where it gets to the end of the ridge lines, they'll put up more ridge lines so he can keep moving it, and they'll just bring along the ventilator and just dragging it further in because it's going to have a tube that's going all the way back. But yeah, they literally set up modern mining immediately. It's kind of insane.
It's funny looking at it again because, like, I read these on when they came out, and I haven't looked at them besides Chainsaw Man. Which, oh boy, okay, I feel like I overhype Chainsaw Man sometimes, but oh my god. Anyway, but like I was reading Dutch Stone again, just looking over it while we were talking about it, and it's like it's crazy to me because it's you look at they're having to put all this effort to get all this just right with Chrome and everything, and it makes you realize it's like Senku could do this like no problem.
Yeah, like, but literally, he couldn't really do it no problem. It would probably be just as hard with him. The only thing is the drill would be done faster, but they wouldn't be much further along. Like that's showing that Chrome can pull his weight now.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he can't. I'm just it kind of reminded me of like a One Punch Man situation where it's kind of like these guys can do good, but it's like we got our guy here, you know.
You mean like whenever they got asked to make that loom and they made the giant industrial loom and she was just looking for like a little wicker? He's like, "Sorry, we didn't make it gas powered. Like we didn't have the time."
I just wanted a little one.
Yeah, she's crying as she's working the giant loom.
So yeah, it's just an interesting little thing I thought about. I was reading it again. But yeah, it pretty much ends there. They get the drill up and going, and Taika just starts going with it. And
we knew there was a 2-week timeline. I thought it was going to be for, like, a lot of it was going to be spent on making the drill and getting there. Because, yeah, you can't... Whenever it comes to digging a tunnel, you aren't just mashing rocks and dirt out of the way. There's a lot of reallocation going on because you have to break it up, then move it out and move it back. So that's why it takes so long to like dig a tunnel through a mountain or underground or anything to make like a highway or anything. Like
maybe that's why they do it like that.
Or like whenever they're doing the boring tunnels now, that giant drill they made that's a huge industrial feat of engineering to be able to dig big enough for a car to go forward and to reallocate the dirt around it. And I think it automatically makes things into bricks, the drill does.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to make it faster than a banana snail.
Huh. Wow.
Like, they bought a snail, and they used the snail to judge against the thing. And it just beat the snail now. It's only just now faster than the snail. This is modern, cutting-edge drilling technology for tunneling, specifically, like what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's as fast as, like, a banana slug.
Crazy. I didn't realize it was that slow.
Yeah, so it's like you might make 10, 12 feet in a day. They're trying to go like a mile. That is 1,760 yards. You're making like 4 to 5 a day. So they're going to be running this thing nonstop. And then they got Taiju, like a madman, going to be like running in and out and in and out and in and out with dirt.
That might be why they set it up so quick, like in that 2-week span, was just because it would take a while to dig out. So
honestly, I didn't think that they'd get realistic with the reallocation of the tunneling.
Which we haven't gotten into the real meat of the tunneling yet, so they might not. It's hard to say. It's one of those things where it's like, how crazy are we going to get with this? Well, knowing this series, it probably will deal with the reallocation stuff. They might make something out of the dirt they have to move. Well, when they reallocate it, I'm not sure how the mining stuff works.
It depends on the companies, really, but like the way the Boring Company's doing it is they're compressing it into basically more advanced versions of Adobe. So it's highly graded bricks made out of dirt and clay.
But like they take them out of the tunnel.
Yeah, you have to take all the dirt out anyways, because you're not hitting it with the drill isn't really doing anything to the dirt other than breaking it up. You're making it softer, but it's still all there. You have to get it out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
And the drill they have, like sliding on the roof, it's not doing that.
It's just going through it.
Yeah, it's just hitting things that are hard, so they're just going to have to move everything else. But yeah, a lot of people like sell if they're tunneling for like highways and stuff, they'll try to do what they can to like sell off what they're digging out of the way. So like dirt companies will buy it to sell off for construction areas. They'll have people who will buy the rock and the gravel. They usually try to sell it off or to repurpose it into something.
Oh, okay. Huh. As I was thinking, it's like you probably could take those, like you said, the Adobe, and like use that for some kind of building. Something, I would imagine. Yeah. It's like, huh, that's cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how like realistic they'll get about the drilling, and really what else they're going to plan to do in this 2-week time.
Because the Taiju on the drill, they might not take that long.
Yeah.
It's like, they might toss that like taking time for the drilling thing out the window and just be like, we got Taiju, he'll do it in like a day and a half.
Yeah, they'll talk about all the complexities and he'll be like halfway there already.
By the time they finish the sentence, he's done.
Okay, now moving on to My Hero 281.
Oh boy, so we start with Shigaraki gives a whole speech on he's back up and going, and he starts giving a whole speech on how
that's not really what happened. It goes back to like a flashback of him talking about how his dad said a hero will give up their family in order to help complete strangers, and then we get to see that get recontextualized like immediately. Yeah, Gran Torino comes in, and we actually get like a flashback as to the whole moment when Nana leaves her kid.
Well, that was later on. That wasn't immediate.
Yeah, but it wraps into it. Like the first thing is the flashback, though, and then it goes into him attacking.
Yeah, because he sees you see a young Shigaraki in the crowd of people, and then his I think his dad goes to hit him. I think that's one of these. I am having trouble remembering
No,
this week's chapters.
that's
I
why I
think.
said like, bring it up. But it's yeah. What happens next is like it shows him like walking the streets, talking about how hero society has bred the people to be weak and meek, and constantly looking for other people to help them. Meanwhile, these heroes clad to help people constantly making people more meek. It's a vicious cycle that keeps feeding itself.
Well,
So
yeah, it starts with Shigaraki's dad, and then it shows like a. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter how it really starts because that is the meat of this whole chapter.
yeah,
Is that whole problem there? But Shigaraki's slowly starting to pull himself up off the
yeah.
ground.
Oh yeah, he's like getting up the entire time that he's talking about this.
Yeah, and then we see Eraserhead telling them to keep the water coming, and then we start focusing on Gran Torino, and we see a bit with him. It's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, and that's whenever it starts like cutting into the past a little bit.
Yeah,
Already is like we get to see what happens when Nana's like leaving her kid, and she's like so that he can't get access to my son because he's already has access to all my friends. I've hidden him from the public records and I'm leaving him here. As of today, I don't have a son anymore. And then you get to see that she's kind of shaking from the back and she says, I don't have a son. And then
and we get these like this great art page of Gran Torino and her. She's crying and he's kind of just consoling her on the rooftop.
Yeah, she's like just
like that's a great
bawling.
There.
Which I'm amazed at how much he just looks like a slightly older like Nightwing.
I keep thinking that every time. He's like, he just looks like a graying Nightwing.
Yeah, Gran Torino looks awesome. But how much older is he than Nana? Like, honestly, I don't think there was that big of an age gap between those two.
Because All Might's in his 50s, I think, at this point.
Yeah, they never give it an age for him because he makes jokes about that.
Yeah, but it's like Gran Torino is probably 60s. So maybe Nana at this, if she was still alive, would be like lower 60s, maybe.
Yeah, I think the same age, which it's weird because like I've seen theories that like another thing is like Shigaraki is related to Gran Torino.
Mm-hmm. Which I can believe with the white hair and everything. Yeah, and
possibly. Like, really, their ages are really close, and they had a really close relationship, so it's possible. You can't rule it out.
Because like we never actually do.
Yeah, we don't know who she had a child with.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been stated, and like it's otherwise. Why would Gran Torino be there unless she actively needed somebody to console her? Like that's another thing that she probably knew she would need somebody there.
Mm-hmm. And Gran Torino is one of the closest people to her at that point.
Yeah, and the only one that
I still think it could be a good theory.
Yeah, it's something that's like this chapter doesn't kill it, but it is interesting because it does. Further in.
Oh, I do want to say he's still giving his speech, and we get a really cool single page of Shigaraki standing up, and he is covered in like horrible torn flesh.
Yeah, like his body is ruined.
And then on his left hand, it's a stump and 2 fingers.
Oh, that's not a stump.
What is that?
That's the gun.
That's the gun?
That's the gun.
Are you serious?
Yeah, remember when I told you he has a gun on his hand?
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's 2 chambers.
Oh, I see.
That's part of why how this chapter ends.
I didn't realize what that was. I thought it was just a messed up stump.
But yeah, whenever this is all happening, what happens right next? Is it immediately like Shigaraki starts running at them?
Let's see.
Or is the Gran Torino then the running?
Endeavor blasts him with another fire attack, and Shigaraki jumps out of the way and starts.
Oh, that's where he gets like that demon face thing.
Mm-hmm. and then Gran Torino hits him in the back with one of
Yeah.
his speed
He talks
attacks.
about how Endeavor's like completely out of gas, and
Mhm.
how Shigaraki should be, but he's just pushing himself way through it.
Yeah,
So
like he mentions he's packing less power, probably due to all the quirks
yeah,
he's using all at once.
yeah, and just all the freaking wounds he's had and everything that's happening right now. So
I mean, he's basically like a meat shield. Like he's just, it's like you shoot him in the shoulder and he just keeps going. He's like, he's taking these hits and not caring what happens.
yeah,
So
Gran
he's a
Torino
lump.
starts jumping in, trying to control him, not really
Mm.
trying to hurt him, just trying to stop him. And then what
And
happens?
then
Like, that's what I'm talking.
Shigaraki, he hits Gran Torino hits him in the back. Shigaraki turns around real quick and goes to grab him. Grabs Gran Torino's leg and destroys it. His left leg.
Oh yeah, did he destroy it? I don't think he uses his quirk. Yeah, he doesn't use the quirk. He just grabs him and slams him.
No, he's still in the air. He grabs his foot, and it shows crunch,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
he
just see
crushes it and then
blood.
he
Like,
starts slamming him after that. Because
yeah, he's
Gran Torino usually like kicks and then like bounces out using his compressed air really fast, and he tries to do that, and Shigaraki's just fast enough that he caught him, like
and
break.
slammed him back
We
down.
don't know if he broke the leg or the boot, but he crunches something and then slams him into the ground.
I I feel like it was the leg.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't just be the boot at this point, especially with because he gives more of Shigaraki gives more of a speech. Like Endeavor readies another attack. Bakugo's rushing as fast as he can.
Mhm.
Eraserhead's still using his quirk, and Izuku's using his full cow to go as quickly as he can. And then we get some more spots. This is where that part with Nana and Gran Torino comes in.
Yeah,
And
this is
then,
because they only did half of it at first,
yeah,
and this is where it does the whole "I have no son, I have no son" while she's trembling, and then she cries.
and then the next, it's like a half panel. It shows them consoling each other.
Yeah, and
And
then it
then,
shows like Shigaraki like grabs up a hand and then smashes it through him.
yeah, so he is probably dead.
Yeah, Gran Torino at best is maimed horribly. At worst, he died instantly.
Which I kind of hope for the latter because, ooh boy, that did not look good.
I think it is the latter
Which we
because
needed somebody. Like, we
like
talk about this a lot. We don't. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like it's pretty obvious like he might be dead, but on top of it, like Izuku like starts screaming, and Shigaraki gets away like at insane speed, so he stole the quirk.
Mhm. That's
Like,
part of the thing. They're not sure how he did it.
they're not even sure if it's stolen or if he's just activating one that he already had. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, if you look at it, he absolutely just stole Gran Torino's quirk.
So we got Blackbeard up in here, baby.
Yeah, but he does this, and then after he stole that, and he gets away from another blast, I think is what happens. Right, that's what he's getting away from, right?
Yeah. Bakugo tosses a blast, and Izuku's using his whips to try to get
Yeah,
to
he
him.
throws a
But
bunch of whips,
Shigaraki gets
but
out
he
of the way.
bounces like 4 times in the air, so he re-vectors a bunch, and then he starts heading right for Aizawa.
Mhm.
So they're
And
like,
then-
"Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!" And then the dragon lady like shows up and slams
Ryuko
her arm in the way.
is her name.
Yeah,
I would have called her the Dragon Lady too, but I'm just looking at her name right now, so I thought I'd put that out there because I've been having so much trouble remembering these names lately.
yeah, but yeah, she slams up her arm and to try to block the path, and because it's blocked Aizawa's vision, he's using his quirk again, so he starts decaying her hand.
Like he's got his arm through her hand at
Yeah.
this point. It shows, and even he mentions that he's running out of power
Yeah,
at this
but,
point.
while this is happening, she's trying to hold him back, like screaming while she does it, and then Izuku's just on his back, and then like literally leashes him. and then pulls him all back, and he's like, "I'm never going to forgive you," while tears are coming out. And he's like, and that Shigaraki says something that, oh my god, that was a cool moment. It's like, and I'll never forgive anyone.
And he's got like purely white eyes, it looks like at this point.
Yeah, he is
Kind of
like
freaky.
rage incarnate. Like Izuku is dedicated to trying to stop him, but he just wants to stop everything, and it's showing the ideologies. But yeah, he's got him restrained, but he kept using the decay because he could still he was getting pulled back, but he kept one hand up, and he poked a hole now through her hand, try decaying it, even
And
though
then he
he's running out of
elbows
power.
Izuku right in the stomach.
Yeah.
And he just vomits blood. It was like, ooh, Joe.
Yeah, but then he grabs onto it. He's turned the pain into power, and he pulls harder. But what Shigaraki was actually doing, he was elbowing him to cover up the fact he was reaching in a pocket. So he flips out one of the bullets, and you can see that he's got a straight shot at Aizawa from here. He can see straight to him, and he flips up one of the bullets. He's like, "You didn't know I had these, though." And then he starts loading it. It's one of the quirk erasing bullets, and he puts his hand up to the hole, and then you get a look. It kind of cuts over to Eri. It's like she doesn't know it, but she's about to remove somebody else's quirk again.
It's like a little Christmas picture, and she's cute in her little outfit.
Yeah.
And a little horn. But yeah, and then on top of that, Endeavor's getting Deku to hold Shigaraki there.
Yeah.
To hit him with one last attack, which
special beam cannon.
I imagine is not gonna go well. Especially with the fact that he's about to erase Aizawa's quirk, which is the worst possible outcome.
I can kind of see Endeavor. This is where the chapter ends, but I can kind of see next week that Endeavor's going to probably figure out what he's trying to do, and he's going to get in the way of it. Yeah. Because if he's got enough for one last attack, he's got enough for one that
last
Hellfire
burst of speed.
Yeah, whenever he does those Hellfire bursts, so he could burst over and take the shot. We've seen how fast he is. He's faster than Deku, Todoroki, Bakugo, who are three of the fastest characters we've seen, besides Gran Torino.
So he could definitely do it.
Yeah, that all right. Could even see Gran Torino taking the bullet. If he's not dead, he would totally. He's got a leg crushed, but he could use one leg to re-vector over there.
I mean, he at least has a hole through him.
Yeah, but how much more damage can he take then? It's he might as if he's.
No, I mean if he can move after that.
That's what I'm saying. If he's alive and he's not dead over there in that corner. If he can re-vector, because he's the only character that would be fast enough to even attempt to do this, he could vector over there and get shot and take that last brunt, because he probably wouldn't live from the wounds anyways that he just got, because that was a hole in the chest. We've already seen that happen to one character in this. This is not Dragon Ball where you recover. You die in a hospital room.
Or everybody cries over your corpse.
Yeah.
And it shows he's got the one bullet, so if they could stop it.
Yeah, because whenever he was reaching onto the table after Mirko had destroyed the laboratory, and then he destroyed the rest of the walls, knocking it all out.
He picked up a few of the bullets.
Yeah, everything else was broken and twisted, so they could probably use to make more bullets. But there was only 2 or 3 bullets that were actually whole. And I doubt he'll waste more than just one. He'll try the one, but he can't afford to waste the others. He needs those.
But we know that, if he gets Aizawa, then he wins.
Yeah.
So it's that's not going to happen. And, even he mentions he's running out of steam, so it might be, they take, somebody takes the bullet,
another thing that
and then he uses that to run away.
If they kill one of the heroes with the bullet, or they hit somebody else with the bullet, Deku's going to let go. And Shigaraki's just going to get away. Because at this point, he's got way too much damage done to him. Although, I kind of hate... I thought that there was going to be more done with Uraraka. Nothing. We've got nothing, because they dealt with Gigantomachia before he got over there.
I do wonder
he's not completely dealt with, but he is... to the point where he's not going to get to the town.
I do wonder about that. It's like there's like a weird level of writing for me where it's like, okay, if we didn't have these people here, it would be really weird. You know, it's like, oh, we're just not going to have anybody here. But at the same time, if you're going to write the story where nobody needs to be there, you know, it's like we added Uraraka there to hopefully have a
why are there
character
no
moment.
villains coming through there? And I get there. We still have like other members of the League of Villains now.
That are like right on his back. So it's
That's
like,
not the ones I'm talking about. Since the
oh,
whole Redestro's
oh, that's true.
revolution,
Yeah.
like we have all the upper management people.
Mm-hmm.
That we only saw one that was over there, so they could be doing stuff in the town.
And we just haven't seen that because of the way
And
the
that could be
chapters
also,
focus.
yeah, and that could also be how the League of Villains gets out of here, because they're definitely getting out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I thought it was kind of weird too, because it's like they had that whole group over there that hasn't gotten to do anything yet.
Yeah.
But we have a whole nother evil faction, or not really a faction, but like a whole nother group of bad guys.
Yeah, and we know that right now that Toga could totally just make another twice.
Mm.
And then twice with his Sad Man Parade can literally just make Shigaraki. You think Shigaraki's powers can't get them out of where they are right now? Like, it's totally, he can definitely get them away. Like, they have a couple ways to escape, which is really what it seems like it's wrapping up. It's just like, there needs to be one big final climactic moment, because obviously nobody's going to win this fight. Like, there's no hero that's going to win this fight. The villains are just going to get away. The only fight that's kind of been won/lost is Dobby blew up freaking Hawks, and Hawks killed twice. Like, that's it.
It's crazy. It's like you have all these heroes going against like Shigaraki, and like the only reason they're even slightly winning is because he has like access to like two quirks.
Yeah. He only has physical augmentation. That is it.
The stuff they have to do to make this winnable on the human
not even winnable. This is a draw. This is a draw that technically you still lose because you're the heroes.
It's like, this is crazy. But this whole arc has been really interesting. And then we have stuff like Mirio lost an arm, or what's her? Is it
Mirko.
Mirko, thank you. I was thinking.
Yeah, her arm is gone and her leg is probably gone.
Mm-hmm. And then we got like a full powered Shigaraki, or not full powered, but
an awakened Shigaraki.
And then we got Gigantomachia in full action. Gran Torino's probably dead. Somebody's about to lose a quirk.
Oh yeah, it's getting crazy.
It's like Twice is dead. Hawks is messed up beyond any kind of repair at the moment. It's like this has gone into a snowball of awful for everybody. Right. Oh, and then I was thinking about it while we were talking about it. Another one of those things. It's kind of interesting. They've slowly but surely gotten rid of everybody back then. Mm-hmm. It's like All For One is dealt with at the moment. Nana's been dead for years. Gran Torino's almost positive dead. And so the last one is going to be All Might, and he can't even use his power anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like he's almost wiped out the entire that last group there. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
All right, but that's pretty much it for My Hero. So moving on, One Piece 986. So I will just start out. It starts out with Kaido knows what they were talking about whenever they were talking about like the moon will change things.
He knows
like,
about Sulong.
He's like, I already know about Sulong. He's like, go ahead, but have at it. So immediately the Forest Guardians, who was it, BB and Rhodey?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, BB and Rhodey are like, don't bother yourselves. Don't bother yourself, Master Nekomamushi. We'll deal with this. So we get to see a bull turn into Sulong, and then a giant ape get huge. And then on top of that, it's like, don't filthy your hands, Master Inurashi. We'll handle the rest of this. And so Giovanni, Sicilian, and who is the last one? I cannot remember the last of the Three Musketeers.
Let me check. Check. I feel so bad that I'm having to like check so much of this. No, I went to the wrong chapters. That's here again. There we go. Why is One Piece in weird order sometimes? This is actually a short chapter. Oh my gosh. It was 14 pages.
Yeah.
That's something. The Three Musketeers, Giovanni,
Sicilian.
and Consulate.
Okay. But yeah, they transform. Okay. So what I want to talk about here is Giovanni, who is the zebra. He looks like a Kieran. Does he not?
He does.
I think that's sweet. Like, people have been talking about, like, who would be the coolest looking Sulongs. Everybody was like, oh, it's going to be Inuyasha Nekobushi. I always thought, if he can turn into, like, I wanted to see what Sulong Zebra looked like, but if he's turning into a Kieran, that is so cool.
That's a neat way to take advantage of that form, too.
But, whatever, right after this happens, like, the doors on to Onigashima, since they're on the roof, this is where, basically where everybody arrived earlier, and where the dead body's sitting over there in the corner. Weirdly enough, we don't see it, but
we got a love pie.
But Jack swings open the door, and he's got a giant army of like gifters, and yeah, it's mostly gifters. I didn't see any pleasures. There's the number though.
Numbers, Nangi.
Nanangi. He's gonna be number 7. But yeah, he's got a bunch of gifters with him, and he's like, "We're here to assist you, Master Kaido, so that they won't touch you again." So basically, it's going to be an awesome battle between Sulong freaking Minks versus Jack's forces, which is going to be awesome. And then Raizo and Nikamushi and Inuyasha see Jack, and they're like, that's the guy who destroyed our city, despite us saying that there were no samurai there. Which technically they're right. Raizo is not technically a samurai. But he was like, I was the one who was there, Jack, and I will, what does he say? It's like, I was the one that was there that day, and I will fight you, I think is what he says. Or I will be your downfall, something like that.
I am the one they claimed was not there. They saved my life, and I intend to repay it many times over.
Yeah. So that happens. But yeah, this is but it pretty much gears up. Okay, BB, Rhodey, Giovanni, Consulate, and Sicilian are all going to fight them. Meanwhile, we're going to get piled on, like, because we see, like, even more Forest Guardians and even more Musketeers in the background, because there are literally hundreds of them. But Jack's like, oh, Sulong, huh? It's like, don't worry, it's a form that can't last very long. Which, yeah, it doesn't need it to last very long with that amount of people who can turn into it. Like, literally, oh, BB and Rhodey can't fight anymore. Oh, well, guess we gotta switch out with that pug dude and that guy who looked like a lemur. Like, they do realize there are literally thousands of them up there. Like, and I know we kind of got baited with, like, Nekomamushi's, like, Cheshire Cat smile thing. It's like, oh, is he transforming? And no, it was just a shadow on his face. We're not getting them in for a while because, which makes sense. Sulong is basically going to be their last resort because you will lose all your energy at the end anyways. You cannot control the fact that you're going to be outrageously tired and you might just fight to death.
So he's saving his form.
Yeah, they need to save theirs because they need to start the fight with Kaido. I think this is wherever it starts to cut down over towards Big Mom, right?
Yeah, it shows all the transformed Guardians still looking at Kaido. They all roar at each other. Yeah. And then it starts going over to I cannot remember the guy in black.
King?
King, yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah. He's like, Queen's like, oh, so Jack really went up there, huh? And King's like, yeah, like you were supposed to. And he's like, what do you mean? So they're immediately fighting because King's like, you should have had the decency to leave while I deal with this. So while they're fighting everything, they hear a clink and they both look up, and suddenly there seems to be a kunoichi attached to the chains. What a coincidence! So Shinobu immediately got caught.
Mm.
And this leads, so King kind of grabs her and throws her, and she turns into a parachute. But this leads into a scene where I got confused initially, because I thought, okay, right afterwards, the chains on Momonosuke break. I thought, oh, she matured them using her fruit and just wiped them out. But then if you look closer, they got cut afterwards, and they just fall off. And then this is another thing I got confused about initially, because Momonosuke can fly anyways. People seem to forget this. Momonosuke seemed to forget this in the second. But he can fly by just turning into dragon form, and I thought, oh, he found a way to use his artificial devil fruit without going into it, which we don't see that with normal devil fruits, but there's no real rules on the artificial. I mean, he can't even control his transformations all the way. So I thought, oh, he's just going to cloud walk away. But no, he just starts floating away, and he's like, ah! So they're looking back at him, and then King just, like, looks, and then he, like, squints his eyes, and then he jumps up and knees, and he immediately gets, like, another leg meet against his. So Sanji was holding him, and he immediately, his, like, invisibility fades off. But I can't believe King knew exactly where he was. Like, yeah, Sanji can fly, but yet he need him. Like, look, like, King jumps and he attacks him, and then Sanji just meets it.
See, based on the panel, I couldn't tell if, like, he was going to knee Momonosuke and then Sanji just caught him, like, mid-kick, or if he was aiming for Sanji, because you could see the outline of Sanji's
well, I thought it might be, but it was, it could have been that he was going for Momonosuke, but it seems more like he knew where he was, because when he jumps up and he flies up there, which he didn't transform or anything, but then again, he's some weird race with wings, but he jumps up there and he knees, but before that, he had, like, narrowed his vision, so it seems like he knew something was up.
I'm just checking the panel since I got it open here.
But
yeah, it does, because he gets, like, you see him get, like, kind of like, huh.
Yeah, he squints, and he's like, oh, something's happening here, and I'm going to figure out what it is. But he needs him, and then everybody's like, Sangoro, and then Dummy's like, Sanji, I thought you were just not carousing with women. But, Sanji takes Momonosuke and throws him over towards, what's her name? I just said it.
Oh my gosh. Shinobu.
Shinobu, yeah. Throws her over to Shinobu, and then he is like, Shinobu, get Momonosuke out of here. Oh, and Momonosuke. I thought this moment was going to come from Luffy later on, not Sanji. But it's still a cool moment. And I figured something like this was going to happen. Is like, way to shout your name like a man.
Oh, yeah. That was
like,
cool.
I thought that those were going to be Luffy's words that said that. It's like, way to shout out what you are. Because what does Luffy freaking always do? Even when nobody asks.
He's in the middle of
it's a little weird.
And it's like, I'm going to be the pirate king.
Yeah, and at first it was like, it's a little weird that it's coming from Sanji, because he kind of dropped his name, but he did that of his own choice. He owns the name he has. Yeah, so he's not Sanji Vinsmoke, he is Black Lake Sanji. And he owns that name, and he owns everything about that. Which is pretty cool. But right after that, I think it cuts over towards directly to Big Mom, right?
Oh no, we see King turn into a
pterodactyl. Oh yeah, okay. So right after the kick, and he threw a pteranodon, actually.
Is it pteranodon?
He's a pteranodon.
Oh.
Yeah, but he right after he throws him and he met the kick, and he does the thumbs up, King turns into a pteranodon and drill pecks him like a freaking Pokemon. He literally hits him and then hits him again, and he's like, whoa, you could go right through me. And he's like, yeah, and then I'll rip you in two right after that, and let's see if you can vanish again. And then Sanji's like, I don't turn I don't pop out of existence and come back in. It's just a visual thing. It's technology. Which I doubt King gave a single shit, but he flies.
He's giving a semantics lesson in the middle of this.
He's like, I'm not incorporeal. I just turn invisible like a visual part of it. Which I think just made King more mad, so he flies directly through a wall and blows a hole in it. And Sanji go bye-bye with him.
We'll get that fight later. Hopefully. Please.
Yeah,
I see
want
Sanji kick a terror.
I want Sanji and Zoro to fight him. In the most epic duel thing. Like, I want King and Queen, who obviously, they have a rivalry. We just saw. So I want King and Queen versus Sanji and Zoro.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would make a cool fight.
I've heard a lot of talk, or seen a lot of discussion over Zoro fighting Kaido to do the whole dragon thing.
He'll eventually go up there. Like I imagine so, because 90% of the characters are probably going to go up there. Everybody has beef with Kaido.
If he's gonna go up there and get one shot again.
Is this where it cuts? I'm trying to figure out where we are now. Is this where it cuts over to Big Mom?
Yeah, it starts cutting over to Bam. It says Luffy talks to Yamato and tells.
Yamato, I like this gag. It was he's like, hey Yamato, I need you to go over there and protect what does he say? Shinobu and Momonosuke, right?
Yeah, help Shinobu protect
Momonosuke. I was like. Yamato's like, can I? Luffy's like, what do you mean, can I? I was like, oh, right, I don't need permission to go protect my own son. And Luffy's like, just do it! So Yamato's I know a lot of people just focus on the fact that Yamato is going as a dude. But everybody seemed to forgot that this is the ultimate cosplay at the same time.
They are fully into this.
Yeah. Yamato 100% believes that's their own. To obviously the creepy degree, because that's my son. No, that's not your son. But then Big Mom
this would be one of those true crime documentaries.
Yeah. But then Big Mom starts screaming,
now we're Big Mom.
And she's like, you ruin everything I like. And she's like, you ruined the tea party, you ruined the wedding cake, you've ruined this feast. And so everything she cares about is food related. Like, who would have thought Big Mom food?
Never would have guessed.
So then she starts using that the Elbathian sword techniques on him and blasts another hole through the wall that he barely dodges, that's even bigger than what King did, and blows out a giant section of the skull. And then a bunch of the samurai stop and turn and what is that thing? They get informed by some of the pirates. Oh, I've heard about her. She's apparently as strong as Kaido in her own right. They're like, they have two Kaidos! Which, yeah, that would be my reaction, too. But
we gotta deal with two of these things.
But right after that attack misses, you get that thing. She's like, I'm gonna end this now, Straw Hat. Zeus, come to me! And then she's like, Zeus, come to me! Zeus, where the hell are you? And then you see, Darby, dink, dink, dink. So she literally was stealing in the middle of stealing Zeus again. And then Zeus, he turns into a tiny little storm cloud. He's like, oh no, she's mad! This turns into I don't even know where this came from, but it was hilarious. Or she's like, listen here, Buster. You gotta choose. Are you gonna go with your mom or are you gonna stay with me? He's like, no, you don't understand. I can't. And then she starts bawling. And she's like, well, this is over. Because It's the weirdest, like, middle school breakup that ever happened out of nowhere. But, he gets, like, pulled back over towards a Big Mom because obviously he can't resist her. He's literally raindrops that are made out of her soul. So he just gets pulled back, and she's like, "Now attack her. Now if you go easy against her, I'm absorbing you back into me." He's like, "I'm sorry, Nami, but you gotta die." And this is when we hear singing in the background. Who could that be?
Who could it be?
But it's not who you think it is. It's you hear the song "Freedom Fighter" Frankie coming to save the day. Then this Frankie on his hog just launches off this freaking building. Brooke on the front of it, riding like a. I don't even know. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. But he's literally riding on the front of it like a surfboard in this mighty pose and slices Zeus in half again. So he's 2 for 2 for slicing apart Big Mom's soul. But to make it even cooler, freaking Frankie lands on Big Mom's face and then grinds the tires and then keeps going. He's like, "Did somebody need... I heard tears falling. Did somebody need some help in it?" Nami's like, "Big Bro!" He's like... And then Frankie referencing back to Punk Hazard, where he's all the little kids are singing, "He'll drive over anything as long as it's not a flower." And he's like, "That definitely wasn't a flower." Because she's a giant freaking hack.
This is one of the best gags.
I love how Brooke and Frankie are just like on team insult Big Mom in every way possible. Because Brooke has stood up against Big Mom so many times now and come out better than anybody else possible. He literally went 4v1 against her and held his own. There's a reason Brooke is my favorite character out of everybody.
Brooke is awesome.
But she didn't even know about, like, somebody like Frankie was even there because he wasn't in Totland. But then immediately, what a freaking greeting, right?
Lands his motorcycle.
Let me just
on your
grind
face.
my tires against your face and insult you immediately after.
Just the act of like grinding his motorcycle tires against her old face is one of the funniest things in this whole. Like, what a scenario!
I know. And Usopp and Chopper coming with the lower half so that, combined with a motorcycle, they can turn into the Frankie Shogun. But before that, since obviously there's a way to trigger these things to happen, so they could straight up like put the this upper set because it's literally just an upper body. I don't think it's the head. I think the head comes out of both of them because the bottom's the legs, then the upper body is this part, and I think they both create the head, or maybe this is also the head. But literally, it's a giant like upper body suit of armor. They could put it on Nami. They could put it on Brooke, or Frankie can wear it, and Frankie probably has more cool tricks with it because they're more than likely his body's also made of Wapple metal. Like all we know is that he has little hands in his hands. But he might be able to just like take it up because the upper hand body is where he has the double hand land Gao cannon. So he could probably just equip that and then shoot Big Mom in the face with the laser, which I want to see.
Big Mom gets so disrespected, and
like,
I love it.
There's definitely going to be a giant kaiju battle between Frankie Shogun versus Big Mom that needs to happen, and I'm all for it.
Like in the backdrop, they even do probably like some burning cherry blossom trees or something.
Yeah.
In the back, just like set the scene. Please.
What I want to know is, okay, normally Frankie pilots the Frankie Shogun. Can Brooke's soul do it?
You know, I don't know.
That would be freaking awesome, would it not?
Oh, that'd be cool. Them teaming up on Big Mom again.
Yeah, it would literally, because Frankie could still fight with his regular cyborg body then,
Mhm.
which is already, he's a lot more devastating physically than Brooke is. But
Yeah.
Brooke would be able to control the Frankie Shogun, and we would get Brooke Frankie Shogun. That would be awesome.
Man, now I want that to happen. There's so much with this one scenario where I'm like, please.
Yeah, everything that has to do with Frankie Shogun versus Big Mom sounds awesome. Like, even if the Brachio tank just shows up and shoots her in the face again, that's cool too. Oh man, literally every part of the Frankie Shogun part has now hit her. It just needs to come together to hit her again.
It's like, you have been disrespected by each of these pieces. Now take one from the whole one.
Take this L, Big Mom. Take this L.
But that is the end of the chapter for that one.
Okay, now going for chapters next week. One Piece is the only one on break.
Okay.
Because, of course, One Piece is on break.
Of course. We get more Black Clover. We get more Chainsaw Man. We get more Dr. Stone. And we get more Hero Academy.
Oh, and we're getting also the next chapter, Burn the Witch.
Okay.
So, do you want to get into Burn the Witch now?
I guess we could. We said we'd do it.
Okay, we really need to talk about it because I know we go off on Bleach, and this is kind of an apology because it's like people probably think we hate Kubo. No, we hated how Bleach ended because Bleach started off so good.
And then we ended up with the
what we ended up with, yeah,
like blood clot arrow thing, and you're like, all right, I can dig it. I can't dig it, but if I have to dig it, I'll dig it.
I'll dig my own grave. But and for anybody who's read the one shot already of Burn the Witch, it kind of starts off the first chapter without explaining everything, kind of assuming you just read the one shot already. But
I did not read the one shot.
Yeah, which is probably why you're slightly confused.
It's like even with the 50 pages, I'm like, what's okay?
Yeah, because they don't explain anything. But anyways, I don't even know if we with this one, because it is the first chapter, if we really go with a chapter review style of it. Because it starts off, it introduces a girl, I don't remember her last name, but her name's Ninny. And she's a pop star. Yeah, and she's a pop star, and she's talking, she's kind of explaining why she hates fairy tales. And she's like, because the magic always ends, so if I have to be in a fairy tale, I want to be the one casting the spell. And then she's getting away from this crowd because she's a pop star, and goes into an alley, flips a coin that has Soul Society West Branch on it against a wall, and jumps in. And then goes down into a portal. Yeah, and then goes into a portal.
I mean, that's what she told me, but it's like now I'm seeing it. It's like, oh.
Yeah. And they're it seems like they're trying to change what it is because they're changing the W to B to like mean wing bind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, goes into reverse London, which is basically London where everything fantasy lives.
Ninny Spankole.
Yep.
And then the other one, which we'll get in. Actually, I'll just
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we already there.
Nihashi Noel.
Yeah. So Noel is basically sitting there. She's hunting. I think they called it like a bloom deer or something, or a bud deer.
I think it's a bloom deer.
She's hunting this thing. It's supposed to be like an A rank harvest because they're part of somebody called the Pipers who just raise and harvest from dragons.
Yeah.
It's the type of witches they are because there's this whole witch sector thing that's going on. It's kind of convoluted for no real reason. But yeah, she's
Does the one shot explain this?
It does. It does.
Okay, I need to read that then.
Not too well, but it does.
I was so confused. I was like, now we're hunting deer. Okay.
Yeah.
But so, yeah.
They're hunting that, and then this thing, what is it that popped up? I can't remember. That's about to drive away the bloom deer because she's trying to capture it with a sun's bell.
It was a bud book. Was the thing they were chasing.
Yeah, and this is something that is now going to be slightly confusing for everybody that was a fan of Bleach. Is like you're used to like the Hado numbers and the Keto numbers and all that. You don't have that. You have new magic, new numbers. It's now it's Maho, which is in Japanese, but yeah, it's going to be translated as spells, which is like spell number 5, which I think is Stun Blast, and spell number 4, 35, 75. So we're going to get spells all throughout this.
And also, from what I can tell from the thing, it does not mention what the name of that thing was. It just, they take it out, and Ninja starts talking about it. It's like a weird... It's like a weird bat thing. It's got like, it's like a bird bat. It's got like plumage around its neck.
Yeah, so it's like this weird like wyvern
some kind of horn looking.
Yeah.
It's got like bat ears and bat eyes and wings. It looks like a big chicken, kind of.
Probably a basilisk.
They never say. It's just like they beat it up and leave.
Yeah, Nini shows up and she knocks the thing out because Noah was being distracted by trying to catch the deer. And she's like, "Oh, why would you take a 2-person quest without me?" And she's like, "Because you were late." And then by this time, they're getting back to the headquarters. That they pull up to like this ATM thing. And he's like, "Well, if you knew I was going to be late, why did you go?" She's like, "Well, for the money." So apparently, you can turn reverse London's currency, which will revert. I should get into what reverse London's about. Reverse London's where all the magic is, but it's to keep a dragon sealed away from the other half of London. This was to protect both the people of London and also the dragons, to keep them from getting eradicated. So, so witches and wizards have locked them away into the reverse side of London, which is literally just the Soul Society.
But English.
Yeah, the Soul Society. But yeah, we kind of get to the thing like Noel being a high schooler is kind of doing this all for the money. Meanwhile, Nenny is doing it all for the notoriety. Like, she wants the achievements. She wants to earn everything that she gets here. She doesn't need the money, although she does. She does get mad about not getting the money. She's like, it's not.
She needs the money, but she's too proud to use her pop star money because you can just.
She's like, I don't. She doesn't really need the money. She's like, because she wants to earn everything as a witch. She doesn't want to use anything that she got from being famous in the other world to get ahead in this one. But she's doing it pretty much all for the achievements, not really the money. Meanwhile, Noel's kind of the opposite. She doesn't care about the achievements. So while they're in here, they run into their ex-chief, is what they say.
A guy from Saber.
He tried to go over to Sabers, but he immediately got kicked out. Which Sabers is another group.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're the ones in charge with eradicating dangerous dragons and dangerous creatures.
And he didn't last.
Yeah, he immediately got kicked out, so he's back. And they do not treat him well at all. Kind of abuse him. But they're like, while they're talking, this dragon dog thing blows out of one of the windows, and they're like, "Oh, is it a dragon attack?" They're like, "Oh no, it's just Balgo."
His name is Balgo Parks. He is a dragon clad.
We'll have to get in that in a little bit, but
he's holding on to it, and
this dragon corgi thing, which is adorable. Yeah,
I love that little dude.
But, the ex-chief is like, "You need to go save him." They're like, "Oh, why do we have to do it? Why would we have to do it? We don't get paid enough to have to take care of him 24/7 and work a part-time job." And he's like, "Well, I knew you were going to say that. So I have you approved for the overtime pay, and I have you approved for extra achievements if you do it." They're like, "Okay, sold." Because this entire time they weren't going to do it. They literally had walked over to like a tea kiosk and they were getting drinks.
And then they get on their broomsticks, and it's okay.
They literally call out like, "You're only doing it for the money, and I'm only doing it for the achievements. But we'll tell people we're doing it for social justice." And he's like, "You can at least just yell the last part."
I love these two idiots.
They're
Yeah,
so fun.
it's so great. So they immediately go flying after Balgo, who goes crashing into some dude's living room. He's like, "Don't come anywhere near her, Balgo." And he's like, "I'm sorry." And he slams against the window. But this is where we find out that normal civilians are not allowed to come in contact with dragons at all.
Or they get killed.
Yeah, you will get
detained.
Yeah, you will get detained for that one. But
well, they said at some point it's public execution, wasn't it?
yeah, you can earn it public execution. It's depending on what you do. But yeah, he's like, "Do not get near me. I'll end up breaking the Anti-Dragon Act of 1609, I think is what it's called." Yeah, but the only ones who are exempt from these rules are people who are known as dragon-clad, who are already poisoned because dragons give you a toxin.
Yeah.
But they fly up, they grab the dog thing and then like pet it, and it immediately like presents its wings, and they pick up Balgo. And he's like, "Noelle, you saved me," and then he's the one holding him. And she's like, "I'll drop you because I'm the one who saved you." Meanwhile, Noelle's just sitting up there like petting the corgi dragon, and it kind of pulls its wings back in. But then she flies back up, and she's asked the guy if he got in contact with the dragon. He says no. Then she pulls out her phone, and she says, "Lick this." And it turns out that there's anti-dragon toxicology mobile thing, because it's not actually a phone. It's just a test. So if they test their tongue, which is if they put their tongue against it, it's like a breathalyzer for dracotoxin. Okay, and if it's below 0.3 or below, I think is what it was, then they pass. If not, then they'd have to get detained or anything, because the only people allowed to get in contact with dragons normally is witches and wizards.
Yeah.
People who have been in contact for too long are known as Dragon Clan. Dragon Clan are...
Dragonclad.
Yeah, Dragonclad. Are people who have high dragon toxicity, so it causes dragons to be drawn to them. So
we see that, and
yeah. Well, first,
like, that's a
they question him about why did the dragon dog start acting up. He's like, "I don't know. We were just out for a walk, and it pulled out its wings and flew." He's like, Noelle's like, "Well, there's only a few times whenever that happens. It's whenever you cough, whenever you sneeze, whenever you I forgot what else it is, because it's like 4 things, and it makes the thing growl and pull out its wings. So anything that makes this thing mad."
Let me see what it said. Let's see. Limited series, chapter 1.
Oh yeah, it's like laugh, sneeze, and then I forgot. Oh, and hurt yourself, I think.
There's a lot of stuff here. You sneeze, you imitate his cry.
Yeah. So if he makes fun of him, if he sneezes, or if he laughs, the thing gets mad, or anything else really. And then like Nitty's like, "Okay, that's a long list of stuff that makes him mad." He's like, "And the only other thing that would make it happen is if there's a dragon near you." And then right behind him, there's like this salamander-looking dragon. It kind of looks like a newt.
I thought that was cool. I like that little panel.
Yeah. That's whenever we find out that Dragonclad draw the dragons to them, because the dragons want to get near them, which is part of the reason why they're so dangerous. But so immediately they set up this like barrier, which is just tape. It looks like that just says like witches and wizards only.
Like keep out tape or something.
But knowing this, it's like probably like whenever they had the reishi string and stuff and bleach, so it's probably a really strong barrier. But they end up setting all this up. Meanwhile, what spell does she use? Number 35? Yeah, they set up all this stuff.
Go back and find it.
There's another stun blast.
Let's see. Still licking the phone. Got the thing. There we go. Get that spell number 4, stun ball.
Yeah, so uses spell number 4, So
Hits you right
that's
in the face.
yeah, and it knocks it back and it smashes into that dude's apartment who was like already complaining. But apparently there's something called dragon insurance in this. So like if your stuff gets broken, there's an insurance company that specifically takes care of it. Reverse London. But yeah, so they end up taking it out. They start calling the captain to come pick it up because it's just going to get taken over to where the Pipers take care of the dragons. But then its face falls off, and like out of like
I
the
was not
neck hole,
expecting that.
yeah, out of the neck hole, like another pair of eyes pop out,
That
and they're like,
was
"Oh,
gnarly.
the dragons turned dark." And this is what we find out. Like apparently, dragons normally aren't that dangerous. They only try to go after people whenever they're hungry or something, or whenever they're drawn to like a dragon clan. The dark dragons try to kill people.
Yeah, just they're evil dragons.
Yeah, and so the captain's like, okay, we're gonna your part here is over. They start doing a lockdown on this section of Reverse London, so there's literally like gates like down everywhere, and it starts redirecting people around places and telling people to go to security shelters.
Mm.
But yeah, they're just supposed to fence it off, but then hand thing over to Sabers, and whenever the captain says that, Ninny reaches over to Doyle's phone and turns it off, and she's like, why'd you do that? She's like, because we're going to show them how strong we are. So they immediately use, what is it that happens? I can't remember here. I know it ends up being spell number 75, and I don't remember what happened leading up to that.
Let's see. They want to show them how strong they are. Because Nanny wants to get into Sabers.
Yeah.
And then she starts flying at the dark dragon.
Yeah, and then it tries to fire a bunch of these. They literally look like hollow beams.
Yeah, it's just like pop, 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 pop. And then Noelle starts to blow her horn.
Yeah, she's like, it tells
spell
Balgo to get back to safety, and then blows a horn, and then it makes like this safety ring.
Yeah, it's like an attack ring. It's like a spell 75. And then we don't see what happens. I mean, we can imagine what happens. But it goes spell 75, and then it shows like a rrr sound. Like Balgo's just looking at this like, oh my god.
Yeah, so they kind of like blow away the dragon, and then it cuts over to like the Council of the Horn now, right?
Yeah, the Council of the Horn. The top of horns. Which is the Gote 13, but there's only 9 of them.
Yeah, it's 9 Gote 13. I don't want to name them. Like, we'll
There's
just
a
name.
lot of
Yeah, let's just name the groups. We're not going to name the people, but they're just arguing.
There's Inks, Anthems, Sacreds, Pipers, Sabers, Patchworks, who is not there, so he or she is gonna be incredibly important / super powerful.
That's usually how these things go. Yeah.
Billionaires and Gallows.
Yeah.
I want to point out his name is Wolfgang /Hot.
Yeah. So.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, this is the Yamamoto of this series, which is a limited run. So let's see how this ends up going, because there's a lot of characters to just dump on us.
Like we got our 2 mains plus 2 or 9 sides plus a third important semi / main. Yeah. It's like,
they talk about how this is one of the worst disasters to happen in Reverse London in a century.
Mm. And they're having a big talk about Balgo.
Yeah, because they're like, it's been a problem ever since he's became a Dragon Clan clad a month ago. So it's only been a month, and he's already screwed up like a bunch. And they're like,
like a Ron Stoppable type. It feels like.
Yeah, and apparently they've been arguing about it for a while. Every department has had a different problem with him. So like the billionaires are like the accounting; they have a problem with him. R&D has a problem, which is the Patchworks. Pipers had a problem with him, which are the people who take care of stuff. Sabers is the enforcement. Gallows is straight up like the murder agency.
Death Squad.
Like they are literally like a death squad, even though they're also personal affairs. Personal affairs apparently includes death.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they've been discussing what to do with him, and they've decided now he's too dangerous to allow to live. So that's
it
pretty much
ends
where
on
this
them,
ends.
Giving a kill order
Yeah.
on Balgo. Which makes me wonder, how long is this thing going to be?
It's a limited run, yeah. So it's probably only going to be like a year or two. So 50 to, yeah, probably like 50 to 75 chapters. That's all I
Wouldn't
can
it be
really
funny if you just rub salt in and he has Wolfgang/Hot? I'm never going to get tired of saying that name. Get cut in half. And it's like, oh, well.
Directly
cool.
after showing off his power, yeah.
And to not even, I don't need to do this. Not right now. I'm not going to get into my Bleach problems again.
But yeah, I really like the personalities of the main two girls.
Mm.
Because they have a lot of like the Bleach villainess personalities where they're a lot more like sarcasm and snarky than they are like just whatever Orihime was.
What was her name? Nanelle? No, not Nanelle. The zombie Quincy girl? I can't remember her name. Was it Giselle?
I think so.
The weird group of girls that were like...
Yeah, well, that's not even who I'm thinking of. It's like, it reminds me of like Neliel and all them.
Mm.
Like, he's done this with a lot of villainesses. Mm. Even like, both of the girls that were in the, what is it called? God, we were just talking about this group the other day. The one they fight right before the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. I can't remember.
Fullbringers?
Yeah, the Fullbringers. Both the girls in the Fullbringers have the same kind of personality. It's just this I don't give a shit. It doesn't apply to me, so oh well, fuck it kind of personality. Then they're quippy and funny. And it's like, I've always loved that about Bleach girl villains, which there's not that many of. So I'm so glad he's made these into main characters. Balgo is straight up an Ichigo clone, given a worse haircut and a dopey grin.
I would say like a Cone character more than a Ichigo one.
Well, I mean like in looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got like Cone's personality.
That's not gonna be pleasant.
I want to see more of the dog. Because the dog dragon thing is freaking cute. It's literally just like a corgi Pomeranian thing. It's just a fuzzball dog dragon.
It reminds me of what was that Digimon? Was it Patamon? The little orange cream puff looking thing.
Yeah,
I think that turned into Angelmon.
Yeah,
reminds me of that thing. Man, Digimon was weird.
But yeah. As for just how to describe them, besides their personalities, Noelle is literally Rukia. But this time, there's no flat chest joke. But
there is not. He made sure of that this time.
And Nini, how do I describe Nini? Kind of like Haribel with Ichigo's color scheme.
Which I love that, like, design they have. Like, the simple green. That's one thing I always like about Bleach. Is, like, his character design is always neat. Like, it's simple.
It's really sleek, yeah.
But, it looks really good. Like, those jackets on him and stuff. He has very pleasing art.
Yeah, but she's got, like, orange hair as her, like, defining thing, and then she wears, like...
Was it orange or blonde? I thought it was blonde in the color page.
It's weird. It's, like, sunburst, so it's, like, blonde and orange.
Okay, so he's doing that kind of Bleach.
Yeah, like, fading sunset kind of hair thing. Like, it's not Ichigo, like, orange hair.
Which, did they ever actually... Because I can't remember if they ever said what Bleach was even... I don't think they ever really brought it up in the thing. No. But it's like, I think it was like an author comment by him about it.
I'm not even... I never looked it up. I know this one... There's no reason to really figure out why it's called Bird the Witch, because literally that's the t-shirt that Nini was wearing in the beginning of this. It's this Bird the Witch.
It might be the pop band.
Yeah. That's
like she's just repping her pop band.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or pop band. That's not what
But
that
it's
is.
literally she's a witch, Bird and the Witch. They're going to be going against the gallows, probably. The name of the thing's probably also Bird and the Witch, so it's just crazy. Oh.
Mm.
All right, sorry about that. He's the one having technical issues this time. So,
Oh.
but we were pretty much done anyway. So, we're gonna start including Bird and the Witch. We're probably gonna keep putting in at the end. That way, people can know what we think about it, because it is just a limited run, so it's gonna end soon.
Mm.
But as for final thoughts, it's not a great start, but Bleach didn't have the best first chapter. It had a good following arc after it. So I'm hoping that's how Burn the Witch goes. Honestly, I'm really excited to see Kubo do anything again.
It's like, I know it's off topic, and it's like, I know we rag on Tokyo Ghoul too, but have you heard about his new thing too?
No, I haven't. He's got a new series coming?
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard much on it, but I saw he had like a teaser image, and it showed like this weird, like Indian kind of
Aesthetic
design.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah, I'll totally read that. Like, I didn't like how Re went, but I liked the first half of the series, so I'll definitely try that again. But yeah, I think that's all there is to really talk about. Everything's coming back next week except for One Piece. So, but we're gonna keep Burn the Witch in. As for what we're most excited about, Chainsaw Man, even though it hurts us. As for the one that we were least excited about this week,
I would say
probably Black Clover, or Black Clover, or maybe Dr. Stone. But I think Dr. Stone was solid, so we'd probably do Black Clover.
Yeah, because it's like Dr. Stone is good. It's just not like we're just getting on with the plot.
We're just moving along. This isn't like any of the best that we're going to see. Although I expect that to be coming whenever we see what they're building in the basement. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat. It's so weird that we're saying like Black Clover is like one of the least ones for us.
I know. Whenever recently during the fight, it was really good. Mm. It's just, but that shows you how fast like a sudden stop can just hit you. Because there could have been better ways to lead into this. This isn't the worst ever, but it really did kill a lot of the momentum.
It opens up like so many different questions.
But hopefully like Noct end up being a really interesting character, and we get a really interesting training arc out of this. I really hope we cut over to Noelle, because I want to see what happened with that. But as for the rest of this, yeah, we're going to be back. So anything you want to add?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. We got all our series. One day we'll... I don't know if I should say this, but it's like one day we'll probably add the Jujutsu Kaisen on there.
Whenever you finally get caught up. Whenever you get even close to caught up, I will catch up that day. That way we're caught up.
It's weird because I both enjoy it and don't want to read it at the same time. So it's like, it's tough. This is neat. I made it like 20 chapters in like a single day, which I know is not super impressive, but it's just like, it was interesting. And now it's like, I hit that point where I'm just like, I'm good. I'm good. But one day we'll add it in here.
Alrighty, so I think we're ending things here then. Subscribe to the like button, like the subscribe button.